Recuerden no perderse la final y apoyar a Team Ace porque vamos por ese mundial.
Este mundial venimos con todos. No olvides apoyar a Team Ace.
Ya ganamos en Latinoamérica, ahora vamos por el mundial.
Ya ganamos la corona, ahora vamos por el trono. Vamos, Team Ace.
Nosotros no representamos un equipo, nosotros representamos toda Latinoamérica.
FIRE World Series là của BTS. Fluxo hãy cẩn thận. BTS vô địch. Chúng tôi đến đây để vô địch.
Nếu các bạn theo dõi BTS sẽ không làm các bạn thất vọng.
BTS vô địch.
Assalamualaikum survivors, jangan lupa dukung kita Ffws di Ffws 2021. Semoga kita bisa memberikan yang terbaik buat Indonesia. Ffws roar.
Gue yakin menang, masa lu enggak?
Ffws roar. Ffws roar.
Ffws roar.
Passando para dizer que tô com saudade da minha avó e que a gente vai trazer o Mundial pra casa.
Um grande abraço aí por todo mundo que tá torcendo pela gente, pra minha família, pros nossos fãs. Tamo junto, segue o fluxo. E é isso aí, meu parceiro. Ó, não se esquece de assistir FIRE World Series porque a gente vai brilhar, família. Tamo junto.
Passando para avisar que eu tô com saudade dos nossos fãs, da minha família também. E não se esqueça de assistir a gente lá no Mundial de Free Fire.
Queria primeiramente deixar um grande abraço aqui pra minha família, meu pai e minha mãe que estão me assistindo lá em casa, meus irmãos também. E também falar pra todos os meus fãs que vamos estar dando o nosso melhor nesse Mundial pra trazer esse caneco pra nós, pra vocês. E também, rapaziada, ó, esse final de semana vai estar rolando as finais da FFWS.
Queria dizer que eu tô com saudade da minha família e principalmente da comida. Tá muita pimenta aqui. E é isso, não se esqueça de assistir a final do Mundial. E é isso, segue Fluxo.
Pasukan Geek Fair akan menjadi juara dan jangan lupa saksikan kami di FIRE AO VIVO series nanti. Dan jangan lupa untuk menyokong kami sepenuhnya. Nantikan kami di final Free Fire World Series nanti. May the best team win.
Jangan lupa saksikan kami bermain di FIRE World Series final. Tim kami akan buat lebih baik untuk menjuarai turnamen ini.
InsyaAllah kita orang akan buat yang terbaik dan jangan lupa support kita orang, guys.
Pasukan Geek Fair pasti akan juara. Doakan kami, guys.
跳伞之后小心屁股。
决战圈见。
冠军我们的。
国外 MVP 照样拿。
Yahoo!
ผมโหดครับ ขอบคุณครับ
Thailand อาฮินกฟินิฟอร์ดจุ๊กรู
ก็มาดิครับน้องๆอยากโดนแบบ11 อ่ะ
Скажу коротко и ясно. Увидел 2 барта в моих руках, советую бежать.
Если вдруг вы оказались на нашей локации, то советую скорее убираться оттуда, иначе вы окажетесь в лобби.
Я не знаю, что говорить. Я не вижу конкурентов.
Опасайтесь нас. Мы уже у вас за спиной.
Нам не важно, кто стоит против нас. Мы пришли сюда только побеждать.
Silence переводится как тишина. Но несмотря на наше название, победа будет очень громкой.
جينا كأس العالم باش نرجعوا بكأس العالم.
إلى كل أساطير سيرفر مينا لا تنسوا دعمكم وتشجيعنا في نهائيات كأس العالم.
نحتاج دعمكم يا أساطير سيرفر مينا في النهائي بطولة العالم. ما فما حتى شيء آخر VIP سبورت مروحين بكأس العالم.
وما تنسوش تدعمونا ان شاء الله يوم النهائي. تأهلنا لكأس العالم وجينا نفوز كأس العالم.
Jangan lupa saksikan Grand Final FFWS 2021 Singapura.
Buat seluruh rakyat Indonesia, tetap terus dukung Indonesia dengan hashtag #Indo Bersatu.
Siapkan mental kalian.
Fighting, gasken. Hardcore Esport, booyah. Hardcore Esport, chiến thắng. Hardcore Esport, quyết tâm. Hardcore Esport, vô địch. SQ Esport, MVP.
Fala, galera, tô vindo aqui agradecer a torcida de todos vocês nesse play-in. Conseguimos passar aí, mano, e dia 30 vai ter a final do Mundial e tô convidando todos vocês pra estar assistindo aí e torcer por nós, galera. Tamo junto, é nóis, #GoLoud.
Minha tropa, muito obrigado pelo apoio que teve hoje no play-in, mano. Queria convidar vocês também pra continuar apoiando a gente no dia 30, na final do Mundial. E é isso, conto com a presença de vocês lá. E é isso, GoLoud.
Então fala aí, minha tropa, muito obrigado a todo mundo que assistiu, todo mundo que tá com a gente, mano. Vocês são incríveis, não me canso de falar que eu amo cada um de vocês. E não para, a final ainda tá aí. Vem com a gente, continua conosco, #GoLoud sempre. Vamos assistir a lbfff, vamos assistir essa FFWS e bora que bora pra final, minha tropa. Tamo junto e é nóis.
Fala galera, aproveitando aqui essa oportunidade para agradecer vocês pela torcida de hoje. Foi um dia incrível onde a gente passou em segundo no play-in, a gente gostaria de ter passado em primeiro, mas é muito bom para poder aprender esses erros que são detalhes e que pra final a gente quer melhorar muito. Muito obrigado, galera. E falando em final, eu acho que esse é o momento agora de a torcida apoiar cada vez mais. A gente veio justamente para conseguir o título. A gente conseguiu dar o primeiro passo, que realmente era passar da fase de play-in, mas a final realmente é o nosso maior objetivo e peço que vocês venham junto com a gente nessa.
GoLoud!
Life is too short for dreams to only live in your head. Will you spend your time awake or with your eyes closed? 'Cause writing your name in history can be done in only one way. Committing to your dreams. Making them reality. Are you committed?
Alright, welcome to the Free Fire World Series 2021 Singapore here in Marina Bay Sands. The time is nigh for all these 12 players to come together and to fight it all out for that $2 million.
Yeah, and we're going to have the grand finals today, but we had an epic play-in time that was on Friday. We saw 9 teams, and unfortunately only top 3 moved on, but that was a pretty epic showing in the sense that, hey, it was as close as it got. We got First Raiders, they were tops, and we saw that they were very powerful. There's a team from Indonesia. We saw Loud, the team from Brazil. They're no strangers to the Free Fire World Series, as we saw them in 2019. And then finally, we saw HQ's Esports, which made a barn burner of a game, in the sense they had to win out the Booyah to even get here, as they got that elusive 3rd position.
Well, the play-ins was definitely something that, at least for me, is something that I did not expect. All the way from match number 1, all the way until match number 6. I was rooting for Cerol here and there, and of course, unfortunately, they didn't quite perform as much as I wanted. But you know what? The spotlight is not on them anymore. It's more on to HQ Esports, Loud, and of course, we are going to be looking at FR. And of course, for First Raiders, they are definitely a team that I did not expect, even though, you know, they're from Indonesia, and they went head-to-head against Evil's Divine, which we will talk more about that in a while later. In the play-ins itself, we had Loud that managed to get themselves Booyah twice.
Yes.
And that is big. And despite all of that, Loud has been very consistent. Match number 2, they got themselves 5th place. Match number 3, they got themselves 2nd place. And match number 4, they got themselves 5th place again. So they're constantly at the top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, and this game is all about consistency. You don't have to get your Booyahs, you don't have to be that, but you do need to survive, and you do need to get some sort of kills, right? If we're looking at the top 2 kills of the play-ins, First Raiders had 2 players. It was going to be Darkol and Ombak. Both of these guys had 15 kills, which is insane, all right? Those are the top 2 in terms of the teams, and that's why they were number 1.
And of course, like you said, it's all about the consistency, right? Because there is one team that managed to get themselves into the finals without getting themselves a single Booyah in the play-ins the day before yesterday. And of course, that goes to HQ Esports. You know, the match number 1, it wasn't that fabulous. It wasn't like everyone, all eyes on them kind of thing. They were ranked number 7 in match number 1. And subsequently, in match number 2, they were ranked number 4th, and then 4th, and then 4th again. And only on match number 5, they came on top with 2nd place. No Booyahs at all for them, but yet they were dominating the other competitions just because of how consistent they are.
Yeah, and actually, HQ Esports, they tend to play a consistent style, and they tend to like spread the kills all around. But actually, what happened was that going into that final match, they had to have a monster game, right? And so what happened was Neo now is like, all right, I'm gonna take this team, put it on my shoulders, let's go, because I'm carrying you. He had 16 kills by the end of the night. That is the most throughout the play-ins. This is your MVP going in, and it was on the 3rd place team.
The time was, the time is now, at least for 2 days ago. But now, this is just where things are starting to get more and more, you know, scary for them. Because play-ins and the finals, the playoffs itself, it is 2 completely different ball game, right?
Yes.
Because we're looking at big team, big names. We're looking at Silence. We're looking at Evil's Divine. We're looking at so many other teams. VIP Esports versus Sky Team A's. My God, there's just so many of these teams which I can't talk much. I can't talk too much about them because there's so many things to say.
There's too many good teams.
Look,
and
Fluxo as well.
Fluxo is definitely on that high on that list as well. But if I'm going to go back to First Raiders, we have to understand that this is a team that they had a television show, like basically an Indonesian Idol for Free Fire, and they found the 5 best solo players and they put them on a team. In the beginning, they suffered. They weren't very good in terms of their consistency because they were just all ultimate top fraggers, right?
It took some time.
This team took some time and they started to gel, and you see the power of what what they have today. And I would not be surprised if the other countries decide to do the same strategy of maybe having a television show to recruit your finest players.
Yep. So just within Indonesia itself, we're looking at First Raiders, we're also looking at EVOS Divine. Both of them neck and neck, toe to toe, and seeing them in the finals like that together is kind of tough for me to even put a power rankings here. And speaking of that power ranking, here in, down in Brazil, right, we are also looking at Loud, right? Loud and Fluxo, both of them is literally head to head, neck and neck. And the only reason why they got themselves into the play-ins instead of the finals is only because of that one booyah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all you need. But before we do that, we've talked about the play-ins. Let us go into the grand finals and give you an introduction of all the teams that are playing today.
to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin. All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You can double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait till you're free.
and pay attention. Only the best can win, and I got a vision. I'm gonna be everything you said I couldn't be. I'm gonna leave my footprint, P.S. I know you see. I do believe that some things might be destiny. I do believe that I'm gonna get the best of me. I know you can't see, but I'll be on top. Team name tag on every spot.
I'm going in, all in, everything on the line. Everyone wants to shine. I'm going in, all in. I got my crew right behind, and we would die for the win. One time we gon' level all in. Two times we ain't gonna stop. Three times like a loaded and we're ready to hunt. It's all said and done, you better run. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel on hunt. I'ma shoot the stars, yeah. We're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shoot the stars. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel on hunt. I'ma shoot the stars, yeah. Are you ready for the battle? You know we won't stop.
All eyes on me, I smell the danger. Can't turn back now, I can't erase ya. Did they tell One time we gon' level up. Two times we ain't gonna stop. Three times like a loaded, then we ready to hunt. It's all said and done, you better run. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. We're fighting for that one cause, one team, one dream, shoot the stars. In a battle on the top, I'm a rebel, I'm hunt, I'ma shoot the stars. Yeah. Are you ready?
to the Free Fire World Series 2021 Singapore. It's been a long 2 years, but we are back. I'm your host, Victoria Chang, and I'm here at the Sands Expo and Convention Center at Marina Bay Sands. And I'm excited to bring you the action from the finals of the World Series, supported by the Singapore Tourism Board. Now, the World Series is dedicated to the fans and followers of Free Fire esports around the world. You spoke and we listened. And it was your passion that inspired us to bring you the games today and bring together all the best teams from around the world to compete for the top prize. Now, we did face a lot of hurdles to make today happen, but standing here now has made it all worth it. Hundreds of teams competed in the pro leagues all around the world, and we are now down to the final 12 teams from 11 regions. They'll be competing for the lion's share of $2 million and the chance to be crowned world champion of Free Fire. Now, we are going to see today who is going to have the most booyahs and who is going to leave the battleground victorious. Stay tuned for all the action.
Time to level up and pay attention. Only the best can win, and I got a vision. I'm gonna be everything you said.
Today is the day where we will only crown one team as a winner, and only one team will go back home with that trophy right at the back. Of course, the Free Fire World Series 2021 Singapore is proudly brought to you by ROG. Thanks to ROG with their phone and their headsets, as they are our official gaming gear of Free Fire World Series 2021.
Yeah, and those are both great phones, and we're lucky to have them. All of the players right now are using both of those phones and the headsets right now. So while they're right behind us, they actually can't hear us.
Ah, yes, because everything is just so good. The way that they're playing, because for what I know, right, ROG phone is like the best gaming phone there is, and you can pretty much play it at massive amount of hertz. I can't exactly remember exactly what, because it's so much. You know, there's so much that my eyes can't even like know if it's 90, 140, 120, because that's just so clear. Everything is just like it's like real life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great one there, and we're lucky to have them as a sponsor here, and then we're going into the grand finals. We're going to crown a winner for $2 million in terms of the prize pool. Ooh. And there's going to be 12 teams going at it, and I'm looking forward to this tournament. What are your thoughts on at least the seeded teams here?
Well, we have a lot of promising teams after all. Let us just run through and run down who are the ones that will be playing tonight. Starting off, we are going to be looking at Fluxo, Team A's, GigFam, Burst the Sky, Evil's Divine, Silence, Phoenix Force, VIP Esports, Goddess, First Raiders, Loud, and finally, HQ Esports.
Yeah, and those bottom three First Raiders, Loud, HQ Esports, they had to earn their way to get in here. They're getting top three of the play-ins, and now they're going to be facing an even bigger task of facing the final seeded teams. And I feel like this is like an end boss, raid boss.
It is.
Every team is loaded. This is going to be a crazy tournament.
This is gonna be tough for all of them. They have went through the tough play-ins whereby they have to fight all of the other players within the play-ins, all 6 teams, and they came up right on top. And they have to now fight the big bosses of the FFWS 2021. And just looking at their logos, man, oh man, are they all intimidating.
Yeah, they're all intimidating except for the Loud one. I think it looks more like a play sign more than anything else. But here is the prize pool. This is what we're talking about. First place is going to bring home $500,000. Second place, $250,000, and so forth. But you definitely want to be in the top 2 because you're making the money here. But you're not going to go home empty-handed. We're going to send you a parting gift of at least $60,000, seeing as that you made it to the finals today.
Can you imagine? First place, $500,000. And USD at that. That is a lot. And all in all, in order to get yourself striving all the way up top to be the first place, you, well, have got to get yourself in the first place in match individually. Because once you get yourself first place in each matches, you are going to be going back with a total of 12 points for being first place, 9 points from second, and followed by 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Do note, that if you're ranked 11 and 12, you would not get any placement points.
And tiebreaker rules, very important in Free Fire. We just saw, at least in the lbfff, that's the Brazilian league, we saw Fluxo and Loud, they actually ended up tying, and it came down to the number of booyahs, and so that's what, that was the tiebreaker for them, and Fluxo was number 1 because of that, and they're in because of that.
Well, and now, of course, how the maps are going to be played. Match number 1 is going to be on to Bermuda. Match number 2 on to Kalahari. Match number 3 on to Purgatory. And finally, the cycle continues. At match 4 to match 6, we'll be looking at Bermuda, Kalahari, and Purgatory once again.
Yeah, and so all of those maps have stayed the same in terms of size, of course, right? But from the play-ins where we had 9 teams, and now we've got 12 teams, teams really need to adjust because there's not going to be as much real estate. They're going to have to fight probably a little bit earlier, and it's just going to be fireworks from the first minute on.
Yep. Here's where things start to get a little bit different, right? Because league stage, play-in stage, and playoff stage, they are all extremely different. At least for the league stages, you have time to kind of just wander around, kind of understand how the opponents play. But when it comes to the play-ins, especially for the day before yesterday, we have only 9 teams. So you can pretty much be sure that each team will have a destination of their own, a nice landmark for their own, and they can play very safely. But today, 12 teams, you can guarantee, or rather I can guarantee you, that there will be at least 2 teams that will clash together.
Which are those teams?
I have no idea. Loud is definitely not going to be one of them.
Well,
maybe.
That said, let's talk about unexpected teams. Like in terms of at least this grand finals, who was an unexpected team, at least in your perspective?
HQ Esports.
Okay,
that is definitely coming out of absolutely nowhere, because starting from match number 1 is the time where we kind of take a look at all the teams and like, this is promising, this is promising, this is promising. Like DEA, we had our eyes out for DEA, but in the end they just got completely flushed out by HQ Esports despite the 7th place that they got themselves in match number 1, and then they just really getting themselves to climb every single game at match 2, 3, and 4. 4th place, like they came out from absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, and okay. To DEA's credit, okay, let's just do the quick point system, right? First Raiders had 79, they were clear favorites. Loud had 75, those are top 2. Let's put those aside, right? The next 3 were in contention at that last match, right? Which is going to be HQ Esports, DEA, and Singularity. HQ Esports and DEA actually had 58 points apiece. It came down to the tiebreakers, all the kills, and that's why you see HQ Esports and DEA going home.
HQ Esports, well, they have been marking every single one of the opponents in the last match, match number 6. They killed people. They went all around. They went downtown, man. And that is the reason why they are out there, prepared and ready to rock and roll.
Okay, well, let's talk about tournament winner. What is your, in terms of prediction, right? Obviously, we don't know who's going to win.
We don't know, yes.
But who do you like going in?
Well, I'm just going to say this. Russia teams are strong. And of course, the Russia team that I'm talking about here is going to be Silence. Silence, they're strong. And they even have 2 players from Spire. And of course, there's Zamaro is definitely one of them. And Pokritel is also going to be one of them. Unfortunately, I think the Pokritel is a sub. So maybe we might be able to see something a little bit different.
Okay. All right, but let's quickly go into the team intro.
我是来自台湾的队伍 LGDS 女神联盟，我们是一群热爱 Free Fire 的玩家。Chào tất cả mọi người, chúng mình là BTS, chúng mình đến từ Việt Nam và chúng mình đến đây để tham gia giải đấu lớn nhất của Free Fire. Tìm hiểu rất là kỹ và mình đã hiểu được cái lối bắn của họ và mùa giải này mình hy vọng sẽ khắc phục được lối bắn đó.
Всем привет, меня зовут Магомед, мой никнейм Зармара, и я капитан команды Silence.
Gue mau ceritain tim Ffws e-sport ke Singapura ini punya semangat tinggi untuk menjuarai Free Fire World Series 2021.
Selamat, ผมแลมโบ้เป็นกัปตันทีมฟินิกซ์ฟอร์ดครับผม
Hai, saya Aziz, wakil untuk pasukan Geek Fam. Kami menjuarai MCP Season 1 dan layak untuk mewakili Malaysia dalam Free Fire World Series Final.
Hola, soy Narucho, representante de Team Ace, campeón de Latinoamérica y próximo campeón mundial.
Eram pessoas que me assistiam, meus fãs e tudo mais, e hoje tá brilhando junto comigo. Quem sabe você aí também não segue o Fluxo. Tamo junto.
مثل ما تعرفون نحن ممثلين السيرفر العربي.
Bom, o que eu tenho a dizer sobre a Loud é que todos nós formamos uma família muito boa.
Mình là HQ Phan Kỳ Em, đội trưởng của team HQ Sport và là đại diện của Việt Nam tại giải đấu FF WS 2021.
Halo, namaku Ever Darkol. Aku kapten dari tim First Raider, perwakilan dari Indonesia.
We have heard from the teams, we have heard of the players. You guys have also heard of my favorite team, or rather the team that I predicted to go up on top, but we have yet to hear from you.
Well, I'm kind of, until the Brazilians team loses a World Series, I mean, they were Corinthians 2019, they won that World Series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, while there's only technically, like NOBRU, who was part of that team, you're going to have to know his name because he's on the new team now with Fluxo, which is #1 team in Brasilia, right? And so, NOBRU is a guy who's made, what, $67,000 in terms of prize money, right? In Free Fire, right?
Yep.
That's more than 7 different teams' total earnings, okay? Not combined, of course, but each of the individual teams, right?
Right.
So he's made it quite a bunch of bank, right? So he's just a massive player, somebody you need to respect. But before I do that and go talk more about that, because we will be hearing his name more, let's go into game one.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are in, of course. This is going to one in Bermuda, the Free Fire World Series Singapore 2021. Looking at the playing path and looking at everything else, it does seem like we do have a lot of players. It's just going to be jumping right in the center of Bermuda, and this is going to be pretty darn scary as First Raiders jumped right on top of Geek Fam right in the Bimasari strip.
Yeah, it's a good start for them. I mean, we're going to see Loud in their traditional spot in the northwest spot. It seems like every single time they're going to do this. But as I say that, it looked like Geek Fam and First Raiders, they're going at it already.
And of course, it does seem like the samurai sword has made its way into the guts of GigFam's Zach. With one of their members down, this is going to be left with Hazik, Appease, and Shoyu to make their way right out of the Bimasati strip. Our first raiders that came all the way in from the plains, they got themselves the first blood. And of course, that is eliminating one of their core rivals, GigFam from Malaysia.
Oh, that's a massive one, especially in the first minute of the game. This is like going into a fight and you losing like your left arm kind of thing. Now you're kind of have to deal with what you can do. 3 people, not a great situation. So this pretty much means for GigFam that they need to play super defensive, make sure they don't take any unnecessary fights because they need to survive. Maybe they can look to third party at a later time.
I don't think that most of them have too much weapons on them. They shouldn't have too much weapons, ammo, or any kinds of utility. So they have to watch out. Whatever that they're doing, they need to run far, far away, especially since Darkhole, he is on a hunt. Right around the on the electrical tower, Darkhole runs right into the face of Appease, drops down the time turner. He also drops down the glue wall. I'm not too sure if whether Appease can even hold this ground for long. But one thing's for sure is that Darkhole, he understands that he's in a precarious positioning and he would want to get himself into the car and run away. In the meantime, Hazik finds himself in the middle of the action. He tries to get a shot down on the opponent, but unfortunately, he's just going to be receiving quite a bit amount of damage. But unfortunately for Zuza as well as Darkhole, both of them being knocked down. It is going to be a face-to-face battle. Umbak as well as Joker. How is things supposed to be working out for now? Appease all alone as Hazik and Shoyu is also knocked down. 1v2 though, and GigFam has been eliminated right off the bat before the first circle has even emerged.
This is the biggest difference between the play-ins and the grand finals. Play-ins, you only had 9 teams. It was very spread out. You definitely had some room to maneuver around. In this one with 12 teams, there's really no room to move. It's either you have to run away, you try to pick up a utility elsewhere, but then you're conceding ground. GigFam was at a huge disadvantage to start off, and then the entire team was wiped out.
All eyes in the southern side of the island here in Sentosa. VIP Esports is slowly making their way past the bridge and into Sentosa itself. Sentosa is not uninhabited. We do have Team A's right in the heart of Sentosa. So in the very moment that VIP Esports slowly make their way into the Sentosa, it's either they are going to get shot or they are going to find and spot their opponents first.
And there's going to be 2 teams there. That's probably going to be the next big skirmish, if anything. But they are kind of a ways away, and I don't know if they see each other. But that circle is very fortuitous for both of them, or at least for VIP, who are a little bit closer. Maybe they can look to gatekeep as they cross that bridge next.
This circle, though, it is quite a disaster coming in. Take a look at this. This all the way down to the southern side of the island. We do observe quite a bit of teams that's actually in the northern side. So we're looking at HQ Esports, we're looking at Loud, Evo's Divine. We also have one member coming in from BDS. The way that they're moving is most likely they're going to be moving down south right into Bimasati Strip, and that is going to bump them right on top of First Raiders. First Raiders should know that they are way too close into the center of the map. So the thing that they should do is get themselves a little bit closer to the center of the circle.
Yeah, and they got to do that. But if you're looking at 3 teams, they're being very greedy, right? I mean, it's the first circle. You don't need to panic too much, but they are a ways away. Silence is way up in the north. Loud is up next, and Evo's kind of a little bit closer. It's going to be very difficult for them to try to make their way to the circle, especially since First Raiders are kind of in that top area, and they could look to maybe do a little pincer maneuver later.
You know, we talked about the fact that Loud likes to jump themselves into the northern part of the island. It doesn't seem like they have changed that up at all. They went to the top side, and it does seem like we do have Evos as well as HQ Esports. They are we've got Silence that's very close to Loud. So the longer Loud stays in there, it's very likely that they are going to get third party. It's either they come in contact with Evos first, or they come in contact with Silence first. It seems like it is going to be the latter, as we are starting to see Skyrix, Vashni, Zmaro, as well as DD getting themselves closer and closer over to the side of Loud as they, bump themselves themselves from buildings to buildings.
Right, and Skyrox and DD, both of them just ziplined in very close, and they're going to know that all of the loot has been gone. Loud has already looted everything, and they're making their way around, but they're going to be completely surrounded right now, and Silence are in position. Loud are sticking together, if anything. They're getting some shots here, and Joanna with a nice knock on them.
And just like that, it does seem like we are going to be looking at quite a big fight incoming soon. We might be looking at 3 teams, or even 4 teams coming in together at this moment in time. We do have First Raiders. They're still holding themselves up right inside of the big building, and this doesn't seem like things are going to be looking well for them. While Silence, they do have a little bit of eyes on to Loud, as Loud Kaon gets himself one onto Sam, and this is not the fight that I was expecting. I was expecting that Loud is the one that's going down instead of Ffws Divine. How is things going to unfold as we look at Kaon slowly jumping down the building?
Yeah, Will got picked off from Loud. Sammy got picked off from Ffws as well. So I mean, they're not coming home unscathed. They did get some damage there, but I mean, this is a pretty big skirmish in the south right now. And you know, Phoenix are there, Phoenix Fire, HQ Esports, First Raiders, all within the vicinity. Not to mention LGDS and PTS right now are looking to zipline right into Phoenix Fire.
And just like that, even though we do have the time turner being popped right up, we've got another time turner coming from Kronos as he jumps himself, launches himself away. Skyrix gets himself the elimination right down on Noda. This is looking to be bad as Kronos is going to be the last man remaining. We saw him catapulting himself right into the air, so at least he will be okay. Nestled down in the southern part of Catalystowa, no one will find him. The only thing that he gotta do now is to play safe, play things slow. Don't engage with the opponents, go for the placements.
Yeah, and Loud here, completely different from the play-ins, understanding that with more pressure, more aggressive, I mean, there's just more teams, right? So they're gonna jump on you. Last time in the play-ins, they had all day. You didn't really see these guys until like 10 minutes into the game. This time, they're getting picked off, and Kronos right now, last survivor, he just wants to save for points.
And for now, VIP Esports all the way in the bottom side. Down south, we are looking at them still coming in close with Team Ace. I'm surprised these two have not come into, well, any deep action just yet. I think that either one of them decided to play things slow. They definitely saw the opponents, but they do not want to get themselves into any action. They just want to hold their ground, see how things are going to be like, and then slowly make their way into the center of the circle, because they don't really need to force this fight unless they are 100% certain or they are 100% confirmed that they have a better position. And at this point of time, VIP Esports, they definitely have got a better position as compared to Team Ace as they take the fight from the high ground. Grenades being tossed over and over, lobbed it all in. Ninja received a bulk of a damage as his HP is down to a critical amount of health. Tariq takes one for the team. He also got himself a single kill. While it is just a simple knockdown, it is not an elimination for now. Massive amount of glue walls being propped right onto this side of the ridge as we've got Ninja being in front of the enemy's line. He's literally in everyone's crosshairs as Tariq, he's still holding himself right behind this tree. He finds himself another one on Naruto. He gets one for himself, and that is going to be 2v2, or rather, we've got Shadow all alone right now. 1v1. He's got to do something about this ASAP, but it doesn't seem like things are looking good at all. He runs himself right in between. Was hoping that he'll be able to do something against Team Ace, to do something against the last member remaining, but VIP Esports, he found himself dumbfounded, flabbergasted, as all the team members from Team Ace has already been resurrected.
Yeah, and Ace here, they were going up in what was a trap by VIP. They thought they had the high ground. They thought they were walking in and they were just going to destroy everybody. But Ace was just able to outplay that one, made a very decisive move and completely wiped them out, proving to be the far superior team as they're up 3-0. I mean, yes, they lost Carlos, which is their 2020 MVP, which is pretty massive, but going in, that's still, when you got an entire team wipe, that's a good one.
12th place and 11th place has already been crowned, and thus, VIP Esports and so Geek Fam, they will not be receiving any placement points for themselves. From this point onwards, we will be looking at placement points for the 10th place with 1 point, followed by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to the first place with a total of 12. Which team is going to be the one that holds out the longest? Will Loud be able to get themselves to the podium finish despite only having one member left.
Yeah, look where he is. He's on the entire western side of the map right now. He's completely by himself. Maybe just hiding in a corner, maybe crying, singing a lullaby. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's all by himself. That's where he needs to be. He needs to be safe. But if we're looking more towards the middle, man, this is where the circle is, and things are going to start happening as the next circle starts to close in on everybody.
Too many things going on here within our factory. Let's summarize things for a little bit. We do have First Raiders down south of factory. We do have Ffws up north, a little bit towards the western side, if I may. They are just right around the outskirts of factory, inside of factory. And I would like to believe that they are holding up onto the second floor as well as the rooftop. It is going to be burst the sky. So, you know, BTS, they're holding in well. I believe that they're probably going to have their BTS concert inside of this factory sometime soon. But we also are going to be looking at silence, where they maybe would want to silence this, well, this performance.
Yeah, right now you need to just fortify, bunker down. There's no need to panic. There's no need to go out, especially if you've got all the, you know, the utility and you've already picked up all the inventory that you need. There's no need to be aggressive. As I say that, Mr. 05 and Kronos is making some plays all by himself. This is the lone wolf, and Kronos is gonna get at least a kill for Loud there.
Well, it is not executed just yet, though. It is a single knockdown. He exposed his position, and he knows that he may very well be in danger. And all the other teams in this current map, they definitely know that Loud will looking at one last straggler. Because if they paid attention to the kill feed, they should know that 3 of the members from Loud is already dead. And Kronos, being the last man remaining, I'm surprised that HQ Esports did not just rush into the face of Loud, or maybe, well, they have great discipline.
Yeah, but look at the next danger zone, right dead smack in the middle, and that's where how many teams? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential teams that are in that red zone. They do need to be careful. It goes away now, but this is a smaller circle. It's going to make it extremely tight, considering there's, 10 teams still left alive.
Look, we have factory inside of this circle. We can ensure a lot of vertical chaos right in this small little building. We can understand that probably a lot of people would be inside the factory, or they would just avoid it like a plague. Whoever's smart enough, and I think that is going to be Loud, because he's pretty much inside of Clock Tower. He will make full use of the containers that is just right outside of Clock Tower, somewhere in the southeastern side, and just hold it in there. But that could also be a very vulnerable spot, because anyone from the southern side, they can still kind of wrap around, play around the extremities, and get themselves to Clock Tower if, well, they're smart enough.
And LGDS, or AKA Goddess, they're just kind of sticking around, bunkering down. Everybody's taking a certain part of the factory. Right now, it's just with different little pieces. You're getting some sort of shots in. Evos and MR5, Godkill are exchanging firefight right now, but nobody's really hitting their shots considering it's just so far away.
It does seem like some shots is going to be happening inside the factory. The time turner being popped up by Jabba, as well as a couple of glue walls coming in from First Raiders. They're just trying to lob in the grenades. They're trying to find something on the side of Fluxo. Would they be able to get it out though? But it does seem like it's just going to be an instant jump in, coming in from the opponent's side. Darko is holding his own, but unfortunately I don't think that he will be able to hold it out all by himself though. Jabba coming from the back. It doesn't seem like FR, they are going to go down without a fight just yet. Joker comes in the nick of time. They will be able to successfully resurrect the 2 other remaining characters just because of this one player. Fluxo, Jabba, he's dead. Godkill, the last member remaining here within factory. This is definitely not the answer that you're looking for, especially since Holler, well, he's cheering for Fluxo.
Yeah, and that was just a really bad engagement. They were sticking together. They thought they could go together, and you know, they were just outclassed on that one. Sometimes you get unlucky. You're not able to hit your shots, and that's what's going to happen here. But Godkill, he's getting a knock on Tika right there. That was a pretty nice shot, but he's kind of by himself. He does need to be careful because he doesn't want to expose himself.
More of the circle is going to be, shown, is going to be at the northwestern side of the factory. Everyone is just going to be scurrying themselves in, but understandably, from how Free Fire works and how most of the players work, they will always wait for the last remaining member, or rather last remaining time, to jump right in. In the meantime, Fluxo, they are out.
Yeah, that's a pretty massive one. They were tournament favorites. They were my favorite, losing out and getting, I think we're going to see like 1 point or 2 points. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But, you know, nonetheless, they're in not a great spot there. But look at the rest of them. Loud is hanging on a thread. HQ Esports has Tyson. He's the only one left. Evo says 3. Ace says 3 as well. And it's going to get super tight as we get into the next circle.
This, ladies and gentlemen, This is what I'm talking about when it is the vertical chaos that is about to happen. For now, First Raiders, total of 8 kills, HQ Esports eliminated by Street. EVOS, they are heading somewhere. It does seem like they're going to play around the verticality, just going to be playing by the extremities just by a little bit. As the Cruise, he does have a grenade launcher, by the way. He manages to bring Bruce down, coming in from Goddess, make that 2! 2 of them has been eliminated, 1 of them knocked down. We're going to be looking at one last member, and it is going to be ETA. What exactly must he do to hold himself up? But in the meantime, what we're talking about Goddess's last member, Loud's last member is still alive though.
Yeah, and Skyrex here, he's got 2 kills already. He is the lesser-known cousin of Skillrex right there, and he's got 2 kills. He's leading his team. They've got 3 right now, and they're getting some firefight action here as they're trading shots with Gaddis here.
And it's for now. This is probably going to be the last circle. It is just going to be centered right on top of, well, Phoenix Force. They are just holding it down right in the middle, bunkering down. They do have some crates for themselves, but inside the factory though, this is madness. This is madness. Joker, this is going to be the last member remaining. Darkhold currently HP is all the way down low as he's slowly bleeding to death, and that is going to be 1 member down from FR as Joanna coming in from the side of Phoenix. They're holding well, man. They are really holding well. Phoenix Force, even though they are in the center, no one is attacking them, or rather they are the one that's just really been putting quite a lot of effort onto the opponent's side. Skyrex takes 1 down, Condemn from BTS, he's down. We do have Spashney. He's going to be looking at quite a lot of the opponents. A lot of the glue wall just going to be deployed as well, as he hops himself right on top of the boxes, trying to get himself in the next circle, because this is the point of time where this is circle number 5.
Yeah, this is going to be a massive one. Everybody's starting to engage right now. Phoenix Fire, Kronos is actually doing a flanking action from the north. There's just firefights all around, and the Cruise is just tearing it up right now. Loud has been eliminated.
Oh! As Vashni, he's currently being knocked down, coming in from Phoenix Force. We have 4 we still only have 3 teams left. Silence, Team Ace, and Phoenix Force. They are just holding themselves in. Team Ace is the kill leader. Phoenix Force outside of the play zone. You can pretty much see that Zamaro is dropping it on grenades like a boss. And quarter kill coming in is just making things more and more crazy as Joanna picks himself up with a triple. What is going to be looking at a quadra? Yes, we will! A quadra kill definitely going to be credited over to the side of Joanna. Naruto gets himself 3 total kills as well. As everyone else, they are just going to be huddling themselves right in the center of the circle as we do have Team 8. Naruto just going to be getting himself a kill right onto the Silence. The Silence going to go down on the third place with 2 versus 2. This is going to be the last match coming in as Team 8 is just doing whatever that they can. And unfortunately, just completely shut down. Coming in by Phoenix Force as Team 8 get themselves down. Phoenix Force gets themselves with the total booyah. Now that is what I call a booyah. A prime example being set by Ffws as they held their ground all in the middle of the map. Everyone is just scurrying around like little ants, and yet they still came up on top despite being the one that is, well, in the middle.
I mean, that was absolute chaos in the end, and I was having a hard time telling exactly what everything was happening, but I saw at least 4 different players, I think 2 from Ffws that got, quad kills themselves, which is going to be absolutely massive. I want to see exactly the number of kills that everyone got, because I think they're going to have a hard time finding out the top 3 with all of this.
This is going to be tough. There is absolutely no way that I can even put up some math at the top of my head. I mean, they call me Math Track for a reason, but, well, I can't put it out. Like, who have the most amount of kills?
To be honest, that was the thing. It was just so chaotic. I wasn't really sure, because once I looked up, I think the Cruz or Joanna, I think one of those 2 players definitely had one. That was just an insane game, and like you saw what happened. Like that circle converged. I think there was like 6 or so teams, and then left and right, everybody was dying.
Well, one thing's for sure is, despite the fact that First Raiders got out, well, I think around 6th place or something like that, they have got massive amount of kills.
Yes.
This is very different from the play-ins. Like, even for example, if you were to be knocked down in like 6th place, you hardly have any kills. Probably 0, 1, or even 2. But this time, looking at First Raiders, they got knocked down somewhere below 3rd place that I know. And I think they've got like 8.
Yeah. I think so too. It was definitely around that number. And here's the thing. I mean, you're talking about how play-ins had less teams and all that stuff. The grand finals had 12 teams, and you're just seeing the absolute chaos. But here's the thing. Like, when you saw teams like Fluxo try to go in, be the aggressor, take a team fight 4-on-4, and then the fact that they lost that one, that's absolutely massive, right? You have to ensure that you're hitting your shots, you're making sure that everybody's checking the corners, making sure that you're hitting the right people, and you're focusing down on the right side. Because if you get lost like that and you end up, 11th place, you're going home with 0? Not only 0 points, but 0 points in terms of kills as well.
Yikes. And of course, maneuvering around in Free Fire is one of the most important things that you should be looking at, because it's not all about marksmanship, how you move, how you aim, and how the opponents move as well.
Yeah. No, everything needs to work in tandem, right?
Yes.
I mean, okay, I like the fact that when Fluxo had the Chrono Shield, and they decided right when it dropped it, they went in together. But hey, let's look at the match standings here. We're going to see Ffws with that monster game. 11 kills, but the 23 plus the Booyah, obviously, with all that. Team Ace up 2nd with 21 points. First Raiders at 3rd, and tied with Silence. Pretty good showing for both of those teams.
And of course, well, First Raiders, despite only getting themselves a rank point of 4, they have gotten themselves with a total of 12 points because they have 8 kills apparently, not 6. And of course, Silence, they were the ones that ended off with 3rd place. But unfortunately, they don't have enough kill points as compared to First Raiders. It is 12 and 12. And First Raiders and Silence, they are neck and neck. So the games is still pretty close.
Yeah, so okay, one of my favorite things was that Kronos from Loud. I gotta give him props. He was the last man standing for the longest period of time, and he got him 8 points, but he's not as good as the Cruz here, who got MVP with 7 kills for Ffws.
His name has been popping up like hot pancakes, and not just the Cruz. Joanna is also another member that have got quite a bit of kills to his name. Okay. But, well, Joker, he's got 6 kills coming in from First Raiders. Team Ace, Naruto, have got a total of 5 kills.
Yeah, and there were definitely other players that had 4 kills. I know there were at least another one from Ffws. I wasn't sure the exact breakdown, and mind you, this is just kills galore. There's just, too many players, 48 players. I mean, it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what happens when the circle just converges right on top of Factory, right? There's so many grounds to cover. There's so many covers, literally, whereby you can't get caught by the opponents as long as you just look for your 6. Someone got your 6, you're good. Until the circle pretty much forces you out of the circle. And that is kind of like what Ffws did. They don't rely on Factory itself. They find themselves outside of Factory, and thus, if worst comes to worst, the worst situation is that they have to run inside the Factory. I think that is okay.
Yeah.
But for the others, if they have to run out of Factory, Ffws, they have already bunkered down. They already made themselves at home. They can just rule out everyone else.
Yeah, and that's going to be some good strategy as we go into future games. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with match 2 right away.
É o Fluxo, velho, meu parceiro. Eram pessoas que me assistiam, meus fãs e tudo mais, e hoje tá brilhando junto comigo. Quem sabe você aí também não segue o Fluxo. Tamo junto.
I can't wait to test this out in the game. Wow, this is cool. Guys, strap yourselves in for a brand new racing and gaming collaboration. McLaren and Free Fire have teamed up to bring exclusive McLaren skins to the Free Fire game. Stay tuned on how to unlock these in-game.
everyone. Welcome back to the Free Fire World Series Singapore 2021. My name is Holler and this is Abstract. And we saw a monster game by Ffws by pulling out 25 points in that one. Second place was Ace. First Raiders was third. Is it over already?
Of course not. For all our friends out there, we still have a total of 5 games to go. So what's happening is that we have only completed in Bermuda. We then will be looking at Kalahari and then back at Purgatory, and it's just gonna go on a cycle. But of course, before we even jump into all the other games, a big shout out and big thank you over to ROG, as the ROG phone and the ROG headset is the official gaming gear of the Free Fire World Series Singapore 2021, whereby all of the players behind, they are all using them.
Yeah, and they're all using it. Unfortunately, they didn't let us use any. I don't know why. I'm a little personally insulted by that. But I'm attacked by that. But we're going to go into Kalahari up next. Now, we saw the first one. We saw some strategies that didn't work. But like, what, in your opinion, was like the biggest standout, at least in match 1?
Well, Fluxo not being able to flex, so...
Yeah, all right. I'll be doing the dad jokes, but go on.
Okay. But one of the most important things is that Loud, they have made their way over to the northern side, and it doesn't seem like they are always alone in the northern side. As I believe that Silence as well as Evo's Divine, they kind of did the same thing by heading over to slightly in the northern area. But I don't know if this is going to be a pattern by Evo's as well as Silence. This is something that we can probably only see in Kalahari, or rather I would like to call them Calamari, and as well as in Purgatory, or I would like to call Purgatory.
Okay, all right. I think somebody is hungry because that's all you're talking about. Fit me! And now you're actually making me hungry. But nonetheless, we've got the thumbs up so far, and it looks like they're fired up and good to go here. But it looks like we want to continue on. Like, I think the teams that did not place well, they really need to step it up. They need to change it up. Maybe that was a warm-up game, I'm not sure. But they really didn't seem to hit their shots. They got completely wiped out. If you look at it from the play-ins to today, you're seeing just how decisive and how quickly they destroy teams.
Well, this is a completely different ball game, right? Once the teams, they want to execute for something, they go all out. They don't just go, half-ass it and just kind of go in and out. No, I don't want to do this kind of thing. Maybe we saw something like that from GameFam, but because they jump in the most unexpected area and they happen to find one other team.
Yeah,
that's understandable.
Yeah, he got caught off. He was by himself. He did. I don't remember the player's name. Excuse me. Sorry. He died so early.
Yeah,
Zach. He was the first one. First blood and all that. And so yeah, put their team in a very bad, precarious situation, and you kind of saw what happened, and you can't really continue to fight with those things. But if we're looking at some of the stats that we saw, I mean, Ace had a monster game. They had 12 kills, even more so than the #1 team, the Booyah team with Ffws. I mean, 12 to 11, it's minor, but Ace really stepping up here.
This is not a big difference at all, if you ask me. But of course, Ffws with a total of 11 kills in that game. That is pretty insane. Ace as well, total of 12, but they're just losing out. At least for Ace, they're just kind of losing out a little bit because of the placement points.
Yeah.
So these two can definitely be great grand rivals. So maybe game number 2 in Kalahari, we might be looking at something completely similar, or maybe something completely different.
Yeah, okay. Well, one thing about Team Ace is you cannot sleep on this team. Yes, they got second place, but this is one of those teams that had one of the worst regular season starts ever, right? Everything was very inconsistent. They were not doing very well until they got a coach. His name is Prof Tato. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But once he came in, he really just added a little stability. He helped the team really coach them up and everything. And they ended up 4th place in the regular season, which put them in prime position to do well in the grand finals. As they were going into the grand finals, they overcame a 2-point gap against God's Plan Esports with a Booyah with only 3 players.
And that is basically how they got themselves into the journey of the finals instead of God's Plan, because God's Plan, they got themselves into the play-ins, but unfortunately, it didn't work towards their plans, unfortunately.
Yeah, I see what you did there. But here's the thing, okay? This is why every single tiebreaker, winning those things out and making sure that you're in the grand finals as opposed to play-ins is a world of difference. If you're looking at what they had to do, Loud had to literally kill a lot of people to get there, right? First Raiders as well. It was very difficult for a lot of the teams to even potentially get there. You talked about Viceroy, you talked about Singularity, all of these teams that probably had a chance at getting into this. But the thing is that when you have to play a whole nother event just to get to the main stage, things can happen.
Yeah, there's just so many unorthodox things that may happen. I talked about Viceroy before, but the league as well as the play-ins, the way that you play it is all completely different. You may be able to adjust based on how game number 1 plays like, especially in Bermuda, and then if the next game is going to be Bermuda again, you can immediately change it up. You want to tackle against some other team, like maybe Ffws. They went over to Sawmill or went over to the Bullseye. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna whack them. This kind of stuff, right? Or maybe the same case for GigFam, right? GigFam, we dropped where we dropped. I do not like where we dropped. I'm gonna change somewhere else. I do not want to find them again. But unfortunately, something that they will only do at game number 4. And of course, this is what I want to see. A little bit of changes from these teams. But unfortunately, we will not be looking at too much of changes yet because this is just going to be game number 2 in Kalahari. Let's take a look at how these players going to be playing, where they are going to be landing here in Kalahari game number 2.
Rest of the map here.
This is going to be quite a game as we do have the flight path that is going to be starting all the way from the eastern side all the way to the western side. And of course, we've got a good amount of teams that are just pretty much flying everywhere. No crazy things going on at all, as every single one of these teams, they are in their fine establishment, or maybe not. As we do have Ffws that jumped right together with Loud. Northern side, baby, what did I say? We do have Loud that did manage to get themselves the first blood right on top of the heads of Ffws as MRO5 takes himself 1 onto K1, and this is going to be a 1-for-1 trade between these two teams. Street, he finds himself at the top of this, well, half of a pyramid, and the rest of the members from Loud, they doesn't seem like they would want to, entertain Ffws anymore.
Yeah, and this is the thing about Kalahari. The map is definitely very small. Everything is very, very tight. So trying to find your equipment, you're like, look at them. Loud are all sticking together. Yes, they've got some guns, but they did get that one pick off from Ffws, which is a pretty big one we talked about, right? So they're going to try to continue on here, and they've kind of split off from the rest of them. Ffws probably going to have to look to survive. Loud right now are going to continue to pillage the area.
It is 1-for-1 after all. Loud and Ffws, they kind of feel as though like, we are neck and neck, right? We have similar marksmanship. Let's just kind of back off a little bit. Let's give us some breathing space. I'm gonna go this way. You go that way. Let's not disturb one another. Until the point of time where Loud Kronos say, you know what? Let's break this pact. I want to stalk them.
Yeah, and we should stick around. I mean, you have numbers. You know that you got that kill. Getting every single kill matters. Every point. It's so important that you make sure that you get as many kills as you can. And if you found like a part of the team, it's up to you to pray and make sure you get the rest of them.
MRO5, it does seem like he do have a sliver of idea that Loud is still right around the vicinity. He went all the way out in the open, dropped a glue wall, and then got himself right back into safe place. I'm not too sure exactly what is going to be the game plan from the side of Kronos or from the side of Loud, but they're just sticking around this area. But the good thing is, we are looking at Kalahari after all, and I always repeated this and I always say this. Whenever you're in Kalahari, don't be afraid to go out for a fight because the chances of you being third-partied is very low.
I thought you were going to say when you're in Kalahari, you're not to be afraid of calamari, but no, that's not going to happen. Okay. Nonetheless, we're looking in the middle. Fluxo is kind of sticking together. They're kind of doing a little bit of looting action, and they want to be more centralized, which is a little bit different from how they played last map, that is. But they're going to probably look to skirmish in with HQ Esports coming from the west.
As it is for now, Loud, they are finally getting themselves out of the vicinity, right inside of Bayfront. Ffws, it does seem like they know what is going on as well. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about the circle, as Goddess got themselves inside of Mammoth, and inside of Mammoth is also going to be some parts of the circle. The circle just going to be comprising the bulk of the island, and Old Hampton is the only place that is not within this area. And We talked about this before, many times. Whoever plays in Kalahari, you know that Refinery is the place to go.
Yeah, because it's central. It's got, it's got high ground galore. It's got so many different options that you could like potentially be. The last fights, the last circles, if they happen to go to the Refinery, you're gonna have a good time, right? And so you want to make sure that you're there first so that you can get that perfect position and that elevation, which is all important in this game.
But of course, we're talking about high risk, high reward. Whichever team that would want to make their way into Refinery, they must be ready for an action. But the thing is, things are slightly different from competitive games, screaming games, and pug games. Because there are times whereby people, they just want to contest for Refinery because of the sake of it. That is pug. When for screams, you would want to go over there because, well, why not? I want to kill people. I want to try some tactics out. I want to learn about the other teams. Why not? But in competitive mode, when we are looking at a real competitive setting, dropping into Refinery has got to be one of the most ballsy moves that there is to be. Because, well, there may be a little bit of some kind of a reverse psychology going on about, go to where may be usually busy, but it's actually empty.
High risk, high reward, my friend. It's great in terms of positioning. It's going to hold you in for the long term. There's a great amount of loot. It got elevation. It's got a lot of positives that you can do. Mind you, of course, yes, you might get decimated in the first minute, but you know what I mean? Like Fluxo, they seem to have this on lockdown, and they're actually making their way out of that, and it looks like they're going to move and run into Ace here.
Oh man, Fluxo versus Ace. Fluxo didn't quite do very well in game number 1, and Ace, they did pretty darn well. And of course, their marksmanship is very important. They did manage to get themselves a total of 12 kills in that previous game, so we should not discount for the marksmanship that Ace had. But one thing for sure, as Japa takes the first shot, as his shot is just going to be echoing throughout the entire horizon. NOBRU takes one off of the head of Carlos, another one assassinated. More and more of these 3 people is definitely going to eat some lead as Fluxo slowly gets himself all of the members killed within of the side of Team Ace. 3 of them decapitated. The last one is going to be Tiki as he holds himself down inside of the glue wall, behind of the boxes, nowhere to go. As Fluxo did not give them a chance. They did not pull any punches, and that was a brutal execution.
How quickly they fall. Ace here was last, match 2, they got 2nd place. Now they've been dropped out. They get 0 points for this round. I don't think they got a single kill. They're completely knocked out. Japa, here, he has the most kills in the history of LBFF, and you see exactly why. He was by himself, kind of isolated. He saw an entire house of enemies, and he was like, let's go, let's bring it on in, and they came in like SWAT, and they completely wiped out the team.
Yeah, they literally got swatted, man. Literally got swatted. And that is what's insane from the side of Fluxo. And I would say that there maybe is a chance of luck involved in that, because we do have one of the members coming from Ace. They were using the third-person view to just kind of make sure that they are scouting outside. But it just so happened that it is the wrong window. And Japa, he took that chance. He shot whoever's inside, immediately executed him, and then the rest of his team came in right in the nick of time as well. NOBRU, he immediately jumped into action, and they worked on it in sync.
Yeah, and they came from all 4 windows or whatever.
They saw the contract.
Literally, they went in. I mean, they were just missing the flashbangs and the SWAT calls pretty much. But that was as professional as it got. But you see just how quickly the tables can turn. You do need to be careful, and this is why this game is so crazy in the fact that, like, hey, you had a great first match, things can happen, now you're on the bottom.
Yeah, this is gonna be sad over to the side of Team Ace. But of course, Fluxo, they are pretty darn happy. Right after getting themselves out of Refinery, they got themselves a easy 4 kills. And I dare say it's easy because that was a convincing win. None of the members from the side of Fluxo even took, well, I mean, some of them took some damage, but none of them were knocked down. And that is the true epitome of, well, convincing win.
Yeah, and Japa was coming in. He was getting, he knocked one guy, and then he was backing away, trying to reload, and the other guy actually went out the window to go after him. And Japa was like, oh, you want to come after me? No, I got you. And he takes him out as well.
Wow, my, oh my. The rabbit really shouldn't have chased this hunter. And at this point of time, well, Team Ace, yikes. And of course, the inconsistency from Team Ace was definitely probably going to bring them to the middle part of the scoreboard. And I've got my hopes up. I'm looking at Fluxo now. There's so many other teams that is still in contention for this game because the circle is going to be popped in the eastern side of Kalahari with Ffws right in the center of that circle. And this is just flashbacks. This is like the same thing as the previous game. Ffws, center of the circle, they don't cower behind big buildings. They just want to bunker down somewhere, hold their 6, and just gatekeep.
Yeah, and Ffws, yeah, they're in the middle, but they know exactly where their opponents are. Their awareness is like on another level. They were getting some shots off on Fluxo. They know that they're in the vicinity. You know, I mean, VIP are also close, and as well as First Raiders. But hey, if we're looking at Evo's top, they're going up against Silence as well, and there's a little bit of a skirmish on that top run. Needs to be careful. This circle is starting to close on down.
They're eating the storm. They are just slowly getting ticks and ticks and ticks of damage. But one thing's different is that Silence, they are taking the catapult and they're just flying right through the air. Evos have realized that, you know what, we have missed our chance. So let us just head on through, get ourselves in the current circle. It's too close. So you don't really even need to move that much. But with this current circle now, it is